watching Don Shea Boxing Nation.
Pick one fight. What is the mega fight in the sport? Teofimo Lopez versus who in a couple of years or next year?
I don't even know. Devin Haney? I would say Devin Haney.
Who would you like to fight at? There are obviously some attractive options there at lightweight. Who would you like to fight the most?
I don't mind being the two-time email world champion. You know what I mean? That'll be fine, you know. I know a lot of people are already saying that this is not for Undisputed because of that. Whatever with Mauricio Suleiman and whatever he did. But I just got a belt that said franchise world champion, so from the WBC. And you got a guy like Devin Haney fighting Gamboa, a washed-out Gamboa, just for a record that he wants to keep it safe and pretty. I can fight those guys. I don't mind it.
Do you think Haney would fight you next, assuming he beats Gamboa?
I don't care. I don't think any of these guys will step up to the plate. And if they do, they better be ready. Because I don't fear no man. I told you guys this. I don't care. I'm in there to fight. And if you're not there to fight with me, you're going to lose.
Thank
like
you.
Loma. Like, if I take that fight, it's just for bragging rights, just to shut him up and destroy his career. That's really what it is. I don't care. That's the type of person I am. I ain't here to... I'm not here to see another fighter build up his career. If he wants to take that step and fight, I'm more than happy to just take him out that route of what everybody's talking about, saying the next Floyd Mayweather and stuff like that. Yeah, get out of here with that bullshit.
Teofimo Lopez is the one with the rest of the belts. So that's the main fight that I want to make happen.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, oh man, I was really hoping that this wouldn't happen. I was really hoping this wouldn't happen. Really didn't want T.O. to do this to himself. Because I was noticing when he talked about Devin Haney, when he talked about Tank in the post-fight press conference, he had a complete different energy than when he was talking about trying to make the Lomachenko fight happen. With Lomachenko, it was, I want that fight. I want that fight. But when it came to Tank, when it came to Devin Haney, it's, well, if they want it, if they want it, we can do it. I don't mind. I don't mind fighting these guys. The energy from T.O. is completely different. Matter of fact, this clip I'm playing in the background you guys are watching right now, this was an interview that Barbershop Conversations did with T.O. And it was Devin Haney that crashed his interview and started to call out T.O. But this interview was about 2 or 3 years ago. That's how long Devin Haney has been chasing Teofimo Lopez. So right after T.O. beat Lomachenko, you heard T.O. say, I don't think anyone's going to step to the plate. And I know he didn't believe that when he said that, because he knows that Devin Haney wanted him before he got in the ring with Lomachenko. Hell, before he even got in the ring with Richard Comey, Devin Haney wanted him. In fact, the very next day after he beat Lomachenko, Devin was already calling him. He was on the phone with him, trying to make the fight next. So Teofimo, the man that said, I don't think any of these guys are going to step to the plate, you know what he's saying today, guys, about Devin Haney? Now he's saying that he doesn't think a fight with Devin Haney is going to happen for at least 3 to 5 years. That's what he just recently said. And right after he said that, his promoter, Bob Arum, co-signed it and said the exact same thing. See, this is the problem that T.O. is having right now. When you're not being honest with yourself and the boxing public, you leave yourself wide open for counters. There's only one truth. So if you're not telling the truth, if what you're saying is not making sense, you will end up contradicting yourself over and over and over again. You know what people say? Once you lie once, you're probably going to have to lie 100 times just to cover up the original lie. And this is the position that Teofimo Lopez is putting himself in. Because while Teofimo and Bob Arum are now saying, that Devin Haney has to do so much. He has to prove so much to get a shot at Teofimo, to where it will probably take 3 to 5 years for him to land a fight with Teo. When Lopez is asked, what about a fight with Ryan Garcia? He says, oh yeah, that fight can happen. That fight can happen like yesterday when it comes to Teofimo Lopez. So he'll fight Ryan Garcia right now, but it'll take 3 to 5 years to fight Devin Haney when Ryan Garcia doesn't even have a belt. And Devin Haney does have the WBC belt, and every single boxing website, they have Devin Haney down as the WBC champion. But he would rather fight Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia, he doesn't have to prove anything. All Ryan has to do is just keep being Ryan. We know what time it is. Man, I was giving Teofimo so much credit because I thought he was really about that takeover life. That's his nickname, the takeover. But what are you taking over if you don't want to take over all the smoke? Like my man Aki said, Teo, he went from the takeover to taking parts because that's exactly what he wants to do right now. He only wants to take parts. Now, something else that Teo said in that piece I played earlier, he said that's some BS. You know, people saying that Devin Haney is the next Floyd Mayweather. And something else he said in that piece that I didn't play the clip of, he gave Floyd Mayweather his props. And he said, you know, everybody wants to be Floyd Mayweather today, but what they don't understand, in order to be the new Floyd Mayweather, you have to be pretty boy first. You have to be that fighter that's willing to call out all of the best competition, get in the ring with all of the best competition. And this is something I've been telling you guys for the longest. People keep thinking they're just gonna be Floyd Mayweather without fighting the competition that Floyd Mayweather had to fight before he became a superstar. And that's where Floyd Mayweather and Devin Haney have similarities. Because just like Floyd Mayweather, Devin Haney is calling out all of the most dangerous fighters before he becomes a big superstar. That's what Floyd Mayweather did. So it makes no sense for Teofimo to say, oh, you're gonna have to wait 5 years to fight me. It's not what Pretty Boy Floyd said, and that's not what Devin Haney is saying today. Floyd Mayweather, he was calling out the Devin Haneys, the Tank Davises, the Jamal Charlos, if you will. He was calling them all out way before he became a superstar.
Stay at 130 where there are other high-profile fighters, or do you want to move up in weight to challenge some of the 135-pounders?
Well, you know, I would like to fight President Nassim. Hopefully, we can meet at 128, or he can come up to 130. We can fight, or I can fight the winner of Casamayor.
Prince Nassim isn't going to fight you.
Well, everybody want to see
after
that fight.
he saw this, it ain't going to happen.
You know, I really want to fight Prince Nassim, but I know you don't want to fight. But hopefully, I can fight the winner of Casamayor and free test. It was hard getting down, you know, 230 pounds, but I got there. I'm looking forward to moving up to 135, fighting Paul Spadafore, Jose Castillo, and hopefully moving to 140.
Do you believe that the fight with Arturo Gatti will come off in June if he wins next week?
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's a good fight next week. Arturo Gatti's a tough opponent. I want to fight the best they got out there. I would love to fight Constance Zhu, Arturo Gatti, the best out there. And I hear that Shane Mosley is coming down to 147. I hear Oscar De La Hoya is coming down to 147. For Floyd Mayweather is willing to go to 147 and fight Shane Mosley or fight Oscar De La Hoya.
And that right there is the pretty boy Floyd. Believe it or not, Floyd Mayweather was probably the most avoided fighter when he was fighting at 130, 135, 140. Because he called out all of these guys, and almost all of them avoided him. With the exception of Gatti and Kasha Zhu, I think that fight could have happened until he lost to Ricky Hatton. And then Floyd Mayweather, he ended up fighting Ricky Hatton. But notice, Floyd Mayweather never said Diego Corrales, he would have to wait 3 to 5 years to fight me. Acelino Freitas, this guy or that guy. Pretty boy Floyd wanted them like yesterday. See, the problem with Teofimo Lopez is when you make these excuses and you say certain fighters, they're not qualified to fight you, they got to fight better competition, etc., etc. When you say that, you're raising the bar, because now the question is, okay, well, if you don't feel Devin Haney is qualified to fight you, what fighters are you going to fight that deserve to fight you more than a Devin Haney? Imagine you're out trying to get a loan, a big loan, right? And the loan officer tells you, in order to qualify for this loan, you have to have at least a 700 credit score, right? And you know you don't have a 700. Maybe you have a 650. So you tell them, so they run your credit, they find out you have a 650, they say, sorry, you don't qualify. And then you're sitting in the same office, someone walks in, has a score of 400, and they give him the loan. How does that company explain that? This is exactly what Teofimo is doing with Devin Haney. He's saying, in order for you to fight me, you got to have a credit score of 700. It's putting more pressure on himself. Because if every fighter has to be more qualified than Devin Haney, who is he going to fight? Ryan Garcia alone is not more qualified than Devin Haney. We know that he's not going to fight Tank Davis next. So if he's not going to fight Tank Davis, he's not going to fight Devin Haney. And once again, he already said that he will fight Ryan Garcia, but let's just say outside of even Ryan Garcia, who would be more qualified to fight Teo than a Devin Haney? He would have to go all the way up to 140, and he would have to fight the winner of Josh Taylor versus Ramirez. But guess what? Josh Taylor, he already said he's moving up to 147. So is Ramirez. So there's nobody left at 140 that will be more qualified than a Devin Haney. The only fighters that would be more qualified than a Devin Haney or a Tank Davis would be the fighters at the welterweight division. Or maybe a Shakur Stevenson if Shakur moves up to 135. Now, it's already been reported that Teo is most likely going to fight his mandatory George Kambosos Jr. Which George Kambosos, he just got a good win over Selby. I actually think that's going to be an interesting fight. I know not too many people give him a chance, but I think that it's going to be an interesting fight, to say the least. But let's say he gets past Kambosos. Hypothetically, he gets past Kambosos. Once again, if he fights someone with a 400 credit score, he's going to look like a huge hypocrite. I was just really hoping that Teofimo Lopez would not start to go the Golovkin, the Canelo Alvarez route. And right now, that's the route he's going. Now, when it comes to the Tank Davis fight, which by Teo's own admission, he did a little poll on his Instagram asking all the fans, who do you want to see me fight next? And he admitted they all said Tank Davis. That's the biggest fight that could be made right now. I think Floyd Mayweather made a terrible miscalculation when he came out and said to the public that as long as they understand Tank Davis is the A side. He should have never said that. And I'll tell you why. He shouldn't have said that because in order for you to say something like that, first of all, you have to make sure the fighter you're talking about even really wants to fight. Because if the guy that you're talking about deep down really doesn't want the fight, then he could easily use that as the perfect excuse to get out of the fight. Because it's clear that Tank Davis is the A side. Tank Davis, he sells out arenas. If you look at all of Tank's numbers and you look at all of Teo's numbers, it's almost a landslide. That's the definition of the A side. The A side has nothing to do with who's a better fighter. It has nothing to do with who's faced better competition. It's who has the biggest drawing power. Remember, guys, when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, it was Floyd Mayweather who was pound for pound the best fighter in the world. It was Floyd Mayweather who was beating better competition than Oscar De La Hoya. But guess who the A side was? It was Oscar De La Hoya. So Teo, he understands this very well. He understands this clearly. But Teo is going to keep saying, well, I'm the A side. And he knows as long as he says that, the fight will never happen. So I think what Floyd Mayweather should have did is he should have just started negotiations with Teofimo, even if it wasn't going to be Tank's next fight. Just don't talk about it until you start to negotiate, because it's a little bit more harder to wiggle out when a person just sends over a contract and you don't have time to think about all of this A side, B side, right? But when Floyd Mayweather says it early like this, yeah, it's easy for the fighter to say, oh, well, I'm the A side. He doesn't care if he's the A side or not. He's going to say it. And furthermore, Floyd Mayweather is grooming Tank Davis to be the next Floyd Mayweather. Because Floyd Mayweather, he knew that when he was the A side, everybody was willing to get in the ring and be the B side to get that big payday. But it's different with Tank Davis, because Tank Davis, he's in his natural weight class and he's knocking out everyone. So anyone that gets in the ring with Tank Davis, they know there's a chance that they could get knocked out. There's a very good chance that they could possibly get knocked out. When it comes to Floyd Mayweather, because he had moved up 5 weight classes and all of his opponents at welterweight outweighed him 10 to 20 pounds, they knew there was a very good chance that if they lost, they would at least go 12 rounds, saving a lot of embarrassment. So this is another reason why I say it was a miscalculation to assume that people are going to just line up to fight Tank Davis. We already know Tank Davis is not as big as Floyd Mayweather, not even close, not yet, but he's definitely bigger than everyone right now at 135 in terms of drawing power. Something else I want to say. See, you can tell when it comes to Ryan Garcia calling out Tank Davis, you notice Ryan Garcia, he's not talking about having to be the A side. He keeps saying he wants to fight. That's how you know someone really wants to fight. Now, if Oscar De La Hoya is going to allow him to take the fight, that's a different conversation. But I think Ryan Garcia is serious when he says he wants that fight. He's not saying, I have to be the A side. I have to get this amount of money. He's not saying, I'll fight him 3 to 5 years from now. He wants to fight right now. And that's the huge difference from what Lopez is saying about Tank Davis. I'll close out with saying this, guys. Right now, the only difference from Teo and a Canelo Alvarez or a Gennady Golovkin is Canelo and Golovkin, they don't talk. They don't say a lot in interviews to make themselves look bad. It's the fans that make them look worse. But when it comes to Teo, he keeps repeating what old media is telling him. He keeps repeating what fans on the internet are saying, and he's making himself look bad, because if you repeat what they say, you will be forced to contradict yourself over and over again. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. ESPN's Max Kellerman was telling Teofimo Lopez to his face to duck Devin Haney, saying to him, you don't have to fight him. You're the real champion. You don't have to fight. You can fight whoever you want. I'm telling you guys right now, the racial double standards in this sport are amazing. The same things that ESPN and all of old media and decafs say about Floyd Mayweather, try to say, oh, he was a cherry picker, he was a businessman, etc., etc. When it comes to fighters on the hope list, they are pushing them to duck. They push them to avoid certain fighters. That's why that hope insurance is so good, because it's a plus. It's a good thing if you're a businessman and you're not black. I mean, they tell them, just stay away from the dangerous black fighters and we will continue to call you the undisputed champion. You're the best. You're the takeover. Just stay away from those black fighters. That's what they're telling them. MBF, all day it's MBF. But keep in mind, I'm telling you, this is something that old media wants Lopez to do. They want him to avoid the dangerous black fighters. It doesn't mean Lopez is going to do it for his whole career, but this is what they want because they have seen fighters that they root for too many times lose to black fighters. And it's too hard for these type of people to separate their emotions from their actual job. Listen, man, I don't care. If I'm rooting for someone and I know there's a very good chance that my guy is going to lose, I still want to see the fight. Why? Because at the end of the day, I want to know who the best is. That's how everyone is supposed to be, especially professionals, like anyone that works for ESPN. but instead they're worse than the decafs on the internet. Lopez versus Haney, Lopez versus Tank Davis, Lopez versus Ryan Garcia. These are all competitive fights. Either one of those guys can win on any given day, but I still want to watch the fight. That's how it's supposed to be. Tio, you said it yourself. In order to be the next Floyd Mayweather, you got to be pretty boy first. So practice what you preach. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. This is the future right here, I'm telling you guys. If you've lost your hair or you have a receding hairline, this is how you get it back permanently. So if you want to get this hookup for my brothers out there in the UK and Europe, make sure you check out the Scalp This on Instagram. And for my brothers out there in the States, make sure you go ahead and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. And when you go on their pages, you can see for yourself what these guys look like before. I mean, these guys are literally hair magicians. I've never seen anything like this before, but all I can tell you guys is this a serious game changer for us men. You know, I always say on this channel, pay-per-view fights should actually be free. And now the day has come where I'm about to hook you up with an app where you can watch all your pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, etc. for free. I want to introduce Block TV, the best internet streaming television app out there. They provide over 3,600 channels, including HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Stars. They have a massive video on demand library with over 40,000 of the new release movies and the latest TV series. And it also includes DVR. So you're getting all of this for $34.99 a month. And once again, that includes free pay-per-view. So this one right here is a no-brainer, guys, because back in Las Vegas, I was paying damn near $200 a month for my cable. Those days are long gone now. So to get the app, make sure you guys go over to getblocktv.com and put in my promo code and get 30% off your first month. You also get a free month for every friend you refer. The promo code is DBNation.